All right, so we're back for another deep dive, and today we're going to be kind of tackling this classic debate,
Okay.
the whole village life versus city life thing.
Yeah.
And you might be thinking like, what's the deep dive here? Well, we're actually using this English language learning video as a starting point.
Interesting.
It's just a conversation between two people, Anna and a male speaker,
Right.
and they're just kind of like going back and forth,
Yeah.
talking about the pros and cons of each lifestyle.
I see.
But as we kind of unpack their points, we're going to be digging into some of the larger societal and economic forces at play here.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because it's not just as simple as like, oh, I like the quiet, so I'm going to move to a village.
Right.
There's a lot more to it.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating about this video is that it unintentionally touches upon some pretty complex issues.
Yeah,
Like, for example, when they talk about the peacefulness of village life,
right.
they're actually highlighting a key factor that drives migration patterns, the search for tranquility and escape from the stresses of urban environments.
Oh, that's a really good point. And I think that is something that a lot of us can relate to, that desire for peace and quiet.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, they also talk about the limited opportunities often associated with village life.
Right.
Fewer jobs, less access to education and entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, those are pretty big considerations.
Absolutely. Those limitations often stem from economic realities.
Yeah,
Villages typically have smaller, less diversified economies compared to cities.
right.
And this can lead to a cycle where young people leave for better opportunities, further impacting the village's growth.
It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way.
Yeah, in a sense.
But to be fair, the speakers in the video don't paint village life as entirely bleak.
Right.
They do emphasize the strong sense of community
Right.
and how people are generally more helpful and friendly.
Yeah, I think we've all kind of noticed that.
Right. Have you ever noticed that difference in your own life?
Oh, definitely.
Maybe like when you're traveling or visiting different places?
Yeah, there's a wealth of research on how social connections are often stronger in smaller, more close-knit communities.
Interesting.
That sense of belonging can be a powerful draw for people,
Yeah.
even if it means sacrificing some of the amenities and opportunities found in cities.
And that actually leads perfectly into this it depends factor that they bring up.
Right.
Because there's no one size fits all answer.
Exactly.
Right. What might seem like a dream come true to one person.
Yeah.
Like that close-knit community
Right.
could feel stifling to someone else.
Oh, absolutely.
So it really depends on the individual.
Totally. And this brings up an interesting contrast.
Okay.
While village life often emphasizes community and interdependence, city life tends to prioritize individualism and self-reliance.
Ah, I see.
It's almost a reflection of the environments themselves.
Okay.
In a village, you're more likely to rely on your neighbors for help.
Sure.
Whereas in a city, you're often navigating things on your own.
It's almost like two different social ecosystems, each
Yeah.
with its own set of advantages and challenges.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that's something we'll definitely delve into as we continue this conversation.
For sure.
And that difference in social dynamics, like, really comes through when they start talking about city life.
Right.
They highlight all the opportunities, like the jobs, the education, the entertainment.
Yeah.
But there's also this undercurrent of anonymity.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, you have all these choices,
Yeah.
but you're also just one face in a sea of millions.
That sense of anonymity can be both liberating and isolating.
Yeah,
It allows for a certain level of freedom and privacy,
right.
but it can also lead to feelings of loneliness and disconnection.
Yeah, for sure.
In fact, studies have shown that rates of social isolation are significantly higher in urban areas
Oh, wow.
compared to rural ones.
That's a really important point.
It is.
It's like the trade-off, you gain access to all these amazing opportunities,
Right.
but you might lose some of that close-knit community feeling.
Yeah.
And I think that gets to the heart of this whole village versus city debate.
Uh-huh.
It's not just about practicalities,
Yeah.
it's about what we value as individuals
Yeah.
and what kind of social environment we thrive in.
Exactly. And those values are often shaped by our experiences and upbringing.
Yeah,
Someone who grew up in a bustling city
right.
might find comfort in the anonymity and constant activity,
Yeah.
while someone from a small town
Uh-huh.
might crave the familiarity and slower pace of village life.
It's making me think about how our concept of home is so intertwined with this whole debate. Like,
Yeah.
is it a physical place,
Right.
a feeling, a community?
That's a good question.
What do you think?
That's a question that has fascinated philosophers and sociologists for centuries.
Yeah,
And I don't think there's a simple answer.
yeah.
Home can be all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
A place, a feeling of community.
Right.
It can be where we feel safe,
Yeah,
accepted and connected.
yeah.
And for some, that might be a bustling city
Mm-hmm.
filled with endless possibilities.
Yeah.
For others,
Right.
it might be a quiet village where Life moves at a slower pace.
I love that home as a feeling of connection.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily tied to a specific location,
Right.
but rather to a sense of belonging.
Absolutely. And that sense of belonging can be found in both villages and cities,
Yeah.
albeit in different ways.
Yeah.
It might be through close-knit family ties
Mm-hmm.
and longstanding traditions in a village,
Right.
or through shared interests
Yeah.
and chosen communities in a city.
And that brings us back to that suggestion that the speakers in the video make,
Okay.
that experiencing both ways of life can give you a deeper appreciation
Yeah.
for the unique qualities of each.
Uh-huh.
It's like broadening your perspective
Yeah.
on what's possible and challenging your assumptions about what constitutes a good life.
I couldn't agree more. Even a short visit to a different environment
Right.
can shake up our worldview
Yeah,
and make us question our own priorities.
for sure.
It might be a weekend getaway to a charming village,
Right.
or a week exploring the vibrant streets of a new city.
Yeah.
The key is to approach it with an open mind
Mm-hmm.
and an willingness to learn.
It's like adding another dimension to that whole concept of home.
Right.
Maybe it's not about choosing one or the other,
Right.
but finding ways to integrate aspects of both village and city life
Uh-huh.
into our own lives.
Now you're thinking outside the box.
Oh,
Perhaps the ideal scenario isn't a binary choice
all right.
between village and city,
Okay.
but a hybrid model
Yeah,
that combines the best of both worlds.
that's a fascinating idea.
It is.
Imagine a community that fosters a strong sense of connection and belonging
Right.
while still offering opportunities for growth and exploration.
It would be like a social ecosystem
Yeah.
designed to maximize human flourishing, offering the best of both rural and urban living.
Okay, now we're really deep diving.
Yeah,
But seriously, that concept is really intriguing.
it is.
It's like taking all the pieces we've been discussing,
Mm-hmm.
the sense of community,
Mm-hmm.
the opportunities, the pace of life,
Right.
and rearranging them into something entirely new. Yeah, it makes you wonder if we've even been like approaching this whole village versus city thing too narrowly.
Maybe.
You know, like what if instead of it being like this competition,
Right.
it's more about creating something totally new?
Yeah, like a hybrid that
Yeah.
meets our evolving needs and aspirations. I think
Exactly.
that's a really great point.
Instead of seeing it as like, oh, which one's better?
Right.
What if we just took like the best parts of both
Exactly.
and kind of like wove them together?
Yeah, it's like we've been presented with a puzzle,
Right.
and instead of trying to force the pieces to fit,
Yeah.
we're realizing we can create something entirely new
Mm-hmm.
and more beautiful by rearranging them.
And maybe even like more functional, you know, like
Absolutely.
imagine like a community that's designed with like walkable neighborhoods
Okay, yeah.
that really like foster social interactions,
Right.
but then they're also surrounded by green spaces,
Yeah.
you know, so you still have that like
A
tranquility.
connection to nature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then like within those communities, you could have like a mix of housing options, like apartments for people who want that more urban feel,
Uh-huh.
townhouses for families,
Yeah.
and even individual homes
Right.
with yards for people who want a little more space.
And to further bridge that gap between village and city life,
Okay.
imagine incorporating co-working spaces
Yeah.
and community centers
Oh, that's good.
that provide opportunities for connection and collaboration,
Yeah.
along with access to cultural events and entertainment.
It sounds like we're designing like a utopia here.
A little bit, yeah.
But seriously, like the more we talk about this, the more I'm convinced that we can create communities that offer the best of both worlds.
I think so too.
You know, it's not this either or situation. It's about taking the best of both and finding ways to make it work.
And I think that's the key takeaway from our deep dive today.
Yeah.
The village versus city debate isn't about choosing one over the other.
Right.
It's about recognizing the value of both
Mm-hmm.
and finding creative ways to integrate their strengths
Yeah.
into our lives and communities.
So as we kind of wrap up this episode,
Yeah.
we want to leave you with a challenge.
All right, I like it.
If you could design your ideal living situation,
Yeah.
borrowing elements from both village and city life,
Uh-huh.
what would it look like?
What aspects of community connection, opportunity, and pace of life would you prioritize?
And don't be afraid to think big, you know?
Yeah.
Imagine a world where we're not limited by traditional notions of village and city life.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Connect with us on social media and share your vision for the ideal blend of village and city living.
That's it for our deep dive into this fascinating world of village versus city life.
Until next time.
We hope this conversation has like sparked your imagination and
Technical.
encouraged you to think differently about the choices we make
Yeah.
and the communities we create.
Keep exploring, keep questioning,
Yeah.
and keep those deep dives going.
Plus,